actually it said preparing, then recording. So now we're recording. So another episode of Difference Makers discussions. Just, I don't really know, a session of Difference Makers discussions, familiar faces with Miss Erin and Mr. Chris. If you're looking at Zoom the way I am, Erin and I from our Difference Makers discussion had this Brady Bunch moment where we were looking at each other from the perspective of the way that it recorded. So right now, Chris, just so you know, and because I can't resist, I'm on top. So here you go. And
you're bottom for me. You're down there. And Erin, you're over there.
Okay. So I think we're all at our homes, right? I mean, everybody knows the T-Rex in Guinness, so we're all at our respective homes, and Chris, Mr. Shrek, is in his swamp.
Yeah, that's
kind of looks like it.
It is.
The reason I brought that up is because you know, we don't really pick topics for these, but something that I texted you guys really late last night that I was aware of and I wanted to discuss with you is this idea of self within like this space. So Chris, you and I have been talking about like being parents and trying to support this little human during this time. And Erin, you and I have been had discussions about being an introvert and like what it feels like as that. And I had this moment last night where I was like, where's myself? Like it's not that I'm not sure that I'm me, but I was finding it hard to stop figuring out what I was listening to from the media on what I should or shouldn't be doing, or when I was listening to like business people saying like what you should or shouldn't be doing, or even the conversations, Chris, you and I are having as like with other parents, not necessarily you, but other parents are like, oh my gosh, we went outside and we drew like the whole entire solar system out of chalk in our cul-de-sac. And I was like, holy bejeebus, I barely kept the things alive today. Like, so I just, that's something that what, Erin?
I'm pretty sure you succeeded.
Yeah, I did succeed.
That's the goal.
They're alive.
Mm-hmm.
They're alive. But I just wanted to throw that out there. And I'm not going to use the word struggle because I don't want the listeners to perceive that I'm struggling in finding myself. But it's just this curious observation of who are we during this time?
Yeah. Well, of the three of us, I'm the only one without children, so I can offer a non-parent perspective on this.
What's it like? Tell me about it.
What is it like to not have children and not have to deal with them every minute of the day? It's pretty nice, actually. I feel like this time has been an opportunity for me to really look within myself and be honest with myself about some of the things that I committed to that aren't necessarily in alignment with who I actually feel like I am. And I feel like the circumstances that we've been in have given me an opportunity to pull back from a lot of the stuff that I felt like, not necessarily that I was doing a whole bunch of things I didn't feel like I should or didn't want to be doing, but it has given me a chance to really look within myself and identify which of the things that I was doing are most in alignment. So whereas I hear you very clearly, and I feel like if I had children, Bunny, I might be in the same boat. The fact that I have been just here with my spouse and it's just been us has given me a lot of extra time to think about who I am and what ways I'm bringing myself into the world and how powerfully I want to do that and where my energy is best used, not just where it's being asked for. So I think I'm in the opposite boat from where you are.
Yeah, and I guess to jump off of that conversation and Bunny, to answer your question is you know, what are we doing? Are we surviving? What's going on? I think, you know, what's this idea of self? To kind of bridge a conversation Erin and I had years ago, which was what differentiates entrepreneurs from everyone else? And my answer was how you view opportunity. And to put it in the context of your question, Bunny, is what is the opportunity as far as exploring oneself during this craziness that's going on? I think going way back, 1996, when I first got into corporate training, team building, that sort of thing. Whenever you're put into a stressful situation, whatever's buried deep in is going to come forward. The best of you and the worst of you is going to come flying out. And I would say we're in a pressurized, stressful situation. That doesn't mean it's stressing you out or that you're a bad person or a good person. It's just kind of trying times that we're in. So what is the opportunity for me, to answer your question as far as exploring myself, as I pose myself that question? So what is the opportunity for me to either develop or to embrace or to do more of or to do less of? And you go through this thing pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good opportunity for me. How can I be the best dad? How can I be the best service provider for what I do? And one thing that I've come, we'll talk about work a little bit before I transition over to being a parent, is, you know, whether I'm helping people with revenue or productivity, whatever it is, a lot of the clientele that I have just simply are in a let's wait and see, or I can't pay you right now. And if I'm going to provide the best service I can, I need to remove all that, including money. So I've been doing a lot of pro bono work. If they need it, I give it to them, and it's paying it forward down the road. Is that who I am deep down? Yeah, it is. But as a revenue driving professional, we can't say do your stuff for free. That is like the cardinal sin. Well, yeah, I'm breaking my own rules now because I can. And if people need it, I provide it because that's what we need to do. And that's another thing that's deep inside me. I like to help people, and I also like to see people bring or facilitate other people bringing the best out of them. So that's the opportunity and what I've been able to do more of. Does that help with self-care or me? It helps really bring forward who I know I really am, is someone that helps people, and then someone that wants to help his family. Back to the family, my new role now is I'm a referee between my daughter and my wife, which ironically is the same role my father filled. He was referee between my mother and me. So I don't want to be that role, and that's something I'm being cognizant of, is I need more time for myself, and I can't get it if I'm constantly refereeing. So putting more of the onus of them figuring it out, not merely, not a Darwinian give them a knife and see who survives, but more of, you guys need to have adult conversations. And if buddies going, what's wrong with that?
If you do that, please record it. I think you have a business opportunity.
Right. So, where's my identity in all this? I think it's
you can just tell we're all entrepreneurs. It's like, how do we monetize that? I was immediately thinking when Erin was like, I don't have any kids. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like porn for parents right now. Erin, just sit here and record all of your interactions on what you're doing right now without children.
Right. So
sorry, Chris, your feelings are important. Continue.
No, obviously they're important. But that, in a nutshell, that's all I got as far as self. I've been creating a little more space for just me now, which is hard considering the physical confinements we're living in right now. Where is my personality and where is me in all of this? I think it's coming forward. So I don't feel like I'm stifled at this point. I feel this is a great way for a lot of the things that I tend not to do more of that are truly to my core being.
Yeah, that's kind of the same point that I was trying to make, Chris, although without the complication of having to homeschool a child in the mix of that, or more than one child, if that's your situation. I really feel like there is great opportunity during this time because of the change in pace and because of the change in circumstances. And I just, it's been nice for me. I feel like I'm not totally, I'm of course upset that the pandemic situation and the global crisis that we're all experiencing is happening. However, I feel like this has been a really nice change of pace. For me personally, I can say for sure, but I feel like for a lot of the other people that I've spoken with as well, that just changing up the pace makes everything feel a little bit different and gives us a chance to have a different perspective, whatever that may be.
Yeah. So this awareness or this observation, you guys know I have my little journal that I use on a daily basis for like gratitude and just my priorities and stuff. And so it said, like, what are you grateful for? And so I just flipped back through a couple pages, and there were things around being grateful with my kids, like experiences that I had with my kids. There were things that I was grateful for with my clients. There were things that I was grateful for with difference makers discussions. And I was like, where is Bunny in like all of that gratitude? Like, yes, I had a part in all of that, but where is my gratitude specifically directed at, I'm grateful that you chose to wake up today. Hold on, Erin, edit that for me.
You were very grateful to wake up this morning.
There we go. Thank you. See, it was like live right there. So I'm grateful that Erin's there to edit myself. I'm just going to need you to follow me around because there's so many times where things just come out of my mouth. Yes. I also need you to filter me. So that's kind of where the space came up. And then it was like, well, to Chris's point is like, is that myself? So I guess I had that moment where it was like, I think, therefore I am. And then the other thought that I was processing was I was doing these self-awareness sessions, like foundations of self-awareness sessions for these teams in companies. And one of the questions that we go through is, what are you looking forward to? And a lot of the team's answers were about what they're looking forward to for others. And very few of them had internal, I want to say intrinsic, but that's not the real word, but like internal things that I'm looking forward to this for myself. It was very much like I'm looking forward to this for the world or for my team or for my company or for all the people who have lost their jobs. And so, I know there's a balance between selfish and, selfless, but I know I've wrote a blog on the aspect of self-full, and making sure that you're acknowledging that you are something other than a father. You are something other than a husband, a referee, an editor, vice president of HR for a large bank, and that there's this self, this seed that's inside of you that you're growing and that you're cultivating. And there's no right or wrong in here, but just an acknowledgement of, for me, not measuring myself by how well I am fulfilling those roles, but for me to take a step, at least to commit to today, that my gratitude practice this morning and this afternoon or in this evening are around the things that I'm grateful for, the self that I am. I know that is not correct grammar, but I mean it intentionally, but the self that I am rather than the things that I do. And that's not to say that's right or wrong. It's just a practice that I wanted to try out to see if I can create some more space for this self. Because what I found I was doing is like, hey guys, I need some time for myself to go write these blogs, or I need some time for myself to go ride my horses. I need some time for myself to go, do the laundry. And like, that's not necessarily time for self. I mean, depending on what I'm doing with the horses, it could be time for self, but like, do you have time and space for yourself is a question that's in my mind. And that was what, I really wanted to bring you guys in and discuss. And I really appreciate your perspectives on it. And as that evolves, continuing to share those perspectives on it.
Yeah. I feel like what you said there, Bunny, I want to make a comment that my feeling about self throughout this whole global experience that we're all going through has in fact shifted. When we first went into sheltering in place, and there was the idea of lockdown and everything changing in what felt like a moment, I definitely had an initial reaction of nose to the grindstone, do everything I can, jump into action, try to solve the problem. And I feel like part of that was for other people. But the longer that we have gone through this, the more I have been able to let go of that and recognize that I need to take care of myself first, because this is the moment where we put the oxygen mask on ourselves. And if we don't, we're going to come out the other side without having learned or gained from this experience. And that seems like maybe the biggest travesty of all to me, is that we would have gone through this and not grown from it. So I've seen the shift happening within myself. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for you for holding the space for this conversation, because I feel like it's something that I have wanted to share, but haven't necessarily felt like I had the platform or the audience or even the wherewithal to do it by myself. So I appreciate the conversation space and being here with you guys.
Yeah, it's same here. I enjoy the conversation with all of us on the same channel, literally. It was interesting. I'll touch a little bit on what you kind of teased out, Erin. I think some folks may have a lot of regret about how they're handling this, or what they started off with and are bringing into this situation, or things that they had happened 15 years ago, and now they got time to think about it. We may be losing our minds about with regret or things you want to change. And Will, my other business partner, Will Turner, wrote a really great article about how to get through regret and how to live without regret. And essentially, is what
not his favorite business partner, though. We're just going to interrupt right there. Not his favorite business partner. But we love you, Will, but not his favorite.
He's my favorite guy, business partner. So I wrote an article a couple of years ago on who do you want to become? And to touch a little bit on what you said, Bunny, don't worry about the what you want to become, but who do you want to become? Who is that person? What qualities does that person possess? What is that, not necessarily ideal human being, but you've got time right now to really put the magic reset on everything. That's what this opportunity is. You can become and do whatever you want to be right now. And not so much your vocation, but the human being. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone that's very patient? Do you want to be someone that does do a solar system out in the driveway? Do you want to be someone that becomes Superman and saves everybody? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be described is essentially at your core being. So if you're writing your own personality, what does it look like? What are those characteristics? And is it feasible? Absolutely. You can do whatever you want right now. You have all the time in the world to reflect on it. Even if you're in survival mode, well, who do you want to be during the survival situation? And that's who you can become. And is that person matching up with who you want to be in 1 or 2 years? And you've got all the time to work on it.
So I'm going to close this out with a self quote. So this is your quote that you use for yourself. Like, I don't know if it's a mantra or if it's, just something that you're going to leave and plant for those that are listening to kind of inspire them. And I'm stalling a little bit just to give you guys a little bit more time to think about that and respect that space. Chris, it's kind of like the ship quote that you gave in one of our other interviews. So for me, and it's modified from the Lorax, because we know I receive all inspiration from the keeper of the trees, the guardian of the trees, that I'm gonna modify it with his permission. He wrote me a note and said I could modify it. And it's, unless someone like you cares about yourself a whole awful lot, nothing's gonna get better. It's not. So that's my seed to plant for myself today. And if that works for you, or if a piece of that works for you, I give it to you.
Chris, do you have some wisdom you want to share, or would you like me to jump in?
Mine was a child's prayer. So when I was really, really young, 7, 8, about my daughter's age, one of the things that I would pray for would be, God, is there anything I can do to be better tomorrow than I was today, and help me be a little bit better person tomorrow? That was it. And then there's a whole lengthy other stuff, but that's kind of always been my mantra. What did I do? What did I do today, and what can I do tomorrow to be a better person? And can I get a little help? That's it.
I love it. Well, I know you said a self-quote, Bunny, but there's a quote from Helen Keller that I've carried with me for most of my life that kind of, I feel, is the epitome of my perspective. And the quote is, "Turn your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadow." And I feel like I have applied that in countless different ways in my life, from making career decisions to making personal decisions to really even this circumstance that we find ourselves in now, just making a point to look for what is positive in the midst of everything else, and allowing that to be the focus, and filling yourself with all that is still good in the world and all of the potential and the opportunity that is still around us. I feel like if we can do that, then we're going to be able to make it through pretty much anything. And so despite it being a really rainy day today, that is what I would plant as a seed, to keep your face to the sunshine and to focus on the positive and what you can do, rather than what you feel like is daunting, overwhelming, or impossible right now.
Great.
Thank you guys so much for sharing this space with me, with our listeners, with the difference makers. Thank you guys for the difference that you make. And you may recognize both Erin and Chris from the teaser video that went out. And if you didn't see the teaser video, please go back on the webpage and find the teaser video, because they both knocked it out of the park there. Erin spent some time with geese during her teaser video, so I'll leave you with that, just so that you can make sure you go find that teaser video, and you can find more about Erin and about Chris and about how they continue to make a difference. Below on the webpage, there's links to reach out to them directly if you feel like they can make a difference for you, for your team, for your company right now. And without further ado, I just thank you all for being here and making a difference, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bunny.
Thanks for having us.